Chris Armstrong, the ever-popular striker. The main achievement of his this season has been in scoring 24 goals, of course. Still only 22, a huge future predicted for him, not least of all by Terry Venables, the England manager. Well, after all the euphoria of these presentations, there it is. That's what the Palace fans have come to see. It's been earned with tremendous endeavour throughout the season by these Palace youngsters. Alan Smith has blended together a side of vast experience with the likes of Nigel Martin, John Humphrey, Eric Young, Chris Coleman, and so many youngsters as well. And it's also a wonderful pinnacle to the season for the chairman of Crystal Palace, Ron Nodes. He's with Jim Rosenthal on the touchline.
Well, Ron, amazing scenes going on behind you at that Holmesdale Road terrace. Have you got mixed feelings about it coming down?
Yeah, I mean, it's sad it's going down. I mean, it's very moving. I didn't think it would be. But, I mean, I'm just looking forward to what we put up and take its place. And I think it'll be the beginning of Crystal Palace and being able to compete at the highest level, and I hope we can do the stadium to do that.
You're very much a Palace man through and through, Ron. The moments you are seeing here and the scenes behind you have obviously touched you.
Well, I mean, I think Palace has an enormous catchment area, and all they're waiting for is something to really believe that Palace have arrived. And they're always so disappointed because we promise so much, we never deliver. And maybe in the future, one of these days, we're going to deliver.
We told you so. That's the words on the players' T-shirts. Did you always believe you were going to go straight back?
We knew we were good enough to get in the playoffs. The players and Alan have actually taken it that bit further, and they deserve all the credit for it.
Has what Alan Smith has done this season surprised you? Because he was a bit of a surprising choice to some people to take over from Steve Coppell.
Not really. Alan's worked for me since 1976. He's always run a club within a club, both at Wimbledon when I was there and here at CP. I knew what he'd do, and he's done it.
Just sum up, could you, what today means to you and to Crystal Palace? It's a wonderful atmosphere here today.
Well, really, the last year was an interruption in our growth, and I hope we can get back on course and continue.
We're looking forward to a good day today, Ron. Thanks for joining us. Let's get back to Matt in the studio. Thanks, Ron.
Thank you.
Emotional scenes at Palace. We'll take a break there. Coming up, yesterday's goals roundup with relegation for Fulham, while Wickham still hope to replace them in Division 2 next season. We'll be back in a couple of minutes.
Well, I think if he carries on like that much longer, we won't need to hire the garden roller at half-time.
I came home yesterday and the car, house and everything in it had slipped into the sea. Really?
Whatever you pay for your combined car, home and contents insurance, Swinton promised to do it for less.
No. But it could have done.
Swinton Price Promise. Contact your local branch for a quote.
Yes? It's here. Okay. I'll be back on Friday. Oh, don't forget these. Bye. Bye.
The new Fiesta SI. It comes with a responsive fuel-injected 16-valve engine. Together with a driver's airbag, power steering, and an electronic engine immobilizer, all as standard.
Thank you, Nikki. That's okay. Au revoir.
The Ford Fiesta. It's much more of a car.
When you get acid indigestion or heartburn, Rennie works fast. Fast, effective Rennie for on-the-spot relief.
The minister's waiting, sir. I'll take over the boff. What? You'll be much safer with me, Sir Brian.
This is the most secure car in the department. The windows open.
I'd have been perfectly safe with Bob.
A Ford. I mean, frankly.
I just bought a Granada.
They are marvellous cars.
You can get up to £1,800 off a new Ford with Barclaycard.
Barclaycard. Well, I never.
On top of the price you work out with the dealer.
My, that is interesting. Ah, some air, Sir Brian. Steady on, Sir Brian. Sir Brian?
To find out more, call 0800 111 222.
And the referee today, Mr. Sanchez, the local sign writer.
Welcome back. In Divisions 2 and 3 of the Ensley League, Saturday was decision day with tears and cheers on the menu as the final promotion and relegation issues were settled. Gabriel Clark starts his roundup at one of the day's happiest venues, Elm Park, Reading.
You are the number one.
A brand new Ensley Championship trophy was guest of honour at Reading's title party. There are bigger, wealthier clubs in Division 2, but Mark McGee's side have been the best.
Great moment for everyone, the fans, everyone's turned out a miserable day unfortunately, but yes, this is just the, you know, obviously what we've been working for all season. It's a great moment for us all.
Down at the other end of the table, a win for Orient on a sunny day at the seaside would keep Fulham up. Warren Hackett did his best to get on the right side of Jimmy Hill just 9 minutes in. But Orient's left back, Dominic Ludden, won't be quite as popular. He was sent off for violent conduct soon after. Blackpool had got the break they needed. There was a bit of luck about their equaliser as well, claimed by Phil Horner, but clearly diverted in off an Orient leg. But the man they call the Blackpool Tower, 6'4" Dave Bamber, played the biggest part in Blackpool's push for safety. He headed down for Mark Bonner, 2-1. And 3 minutes later, Blackpool were on the way to the win they needed, with a little help from some sloppy Orient defending. They can't get the ball beyond their own 6-yard box, and this time Bamber gets the final decisive touch. Down to 10 men, it was asking a lot for Orient to come back from that, and near the end, Bamber caught them out again. His flick puts Jamie Murphy away, and up in support, Andy Watson can't really miss. 4-1, and Blackpool had given themselves a real chance. The result meant Fulham had to do what only 4 teams had managed all season, win at Swansea. The news that Orient were winning helped them start well enough, but then Jason Bowen scored, and Fulham were starting to rely on news from the northwest. And that turned from good to bad to even worse by the second half. Torpy's shot was saved by Jim Stannard, but he couldn't hold on, and Perrett knocked in his first goal in the Football League. And for the first time in their 115-year history, Fulham were facing up to life in the league's bottom division. Gary Brazil's goal, only their 32nd all season, did little to soften the blow for some of the most loyal fans in the country who are trying to secure the future of Craven Cottage. Relegation will be a massive blow. Barnet have had weeks to get used to that sinking feeling. Mark Newson, who began the season with Fulham, scored their last goal in Division 2. Imre Varadi got through to equalise for Rotherham, but the amazing Barnet spirit has been preserved, and they held on to avoid their 29th defeat of the league season. There was no D-mob happy atmosphere at Griffin Park. True, there was a flourish about Brentford's start to the afternoon, crowned with a rasping drive from Lee Harvey. But for some reason, the second half turned rather nasty. Martin Granger's sending off was one reason, and Jamie Bates was lucky to stay on the field as well after appearing to kick out at Andy Booth. But Bates got away with it largely because the referee was too busy watching 16 other players square up to each other in the inquest that followed. All the aggravation seemed to take the strength out of Brentford's defence. With 3 minutes left, Ian Dunn cuts in from the right and equalises. And in the final minutes, Dunn's opportunism gets him a second to make it an unhappy end to David Webb's first season at Griffin Park. Wickham Wanderers' biggest crowd of the season squeezed into Adams Park yesterday, and most of them came armed. The dream of crowning their first league season with automatic promotion would all depend on what happened 200 miles north in Chester, where if Crewe lost, victory for Wickham would take them into Division 2. But Preston weren't going to go quietly. Even if they were already guaranteed a playoff place, no side managed by John Beck will ever lack for motivation. Wickham found that out in the early rugged confrontations. And then in the 10th minute, they found themselves out-muscled at a corner. Paul Hyde stopped the first attempt, but not the second from Ryan Kidd right on the line. And Martin O'Neill's mood wasn't lightened much in the next 25 minutes. For all his side's enterprise and determination, they were missing their chances. Dave Carroll sets up Simon Garner, and then somehow following up, Carroll misses an open goal. But 8 minutes before half-time, Glyn Creaser shuffled his 6'5" frame up for a corner. That was only his second ever goal in the Football League, and with Crewe drawing as well, the slate had been wiped clean for the second half. All Wickham needed was a favour from Chester and the cool edge in front of goal. But the unfortunate Carroll wasn't going to be the man for the job. And as the minutes ebbed away, Simon Garner couldn't have gone much closer. But not long after, the groans of frustration turned to a silent, sad resignation as the bad news from up north made its way around the ground. And for all those Wickham fans who heard that Crewe had gone in front, this is how they did it. Ashley Ward's goal with 20 minutes left was worthy of winning any match. Crewe were in front, and whatever Wickham did, that was going to be good enough for automatic promotion. Back down at Adams Park, all Wickham had was the consolation prize of a place in the playoffs, beginning with a trip to Carlisle, where their league adventure began last August.
Well, I went in and told the chairman that I set out a fitness pattern, really, that it was designed to last until the 20th or 29th of May, you know. He didn't actually believe me, nor do I believe myself. No, we're in them now. We can't do a thing about it. We had a couple of chances during the last couple of weeks of the season, which we didn't really take. Couple of decisions here and there. Don't want to hear that, do you, really? Everybody's had a couple of decisions, bad decisions given against them. Doesn't really matter. Over the whole season, I said to you a week or so ago that those who have gone up automatically deserve to at the end of the day. And if we have one of four sides battling it in the playoff situation, so be it. We're up for it. We really are up for it. Carlisle, as I say, 2 games against Carlisle, and hopefully we can get to Wembley.
So Wickham on their way to Carlisle in the first leg of their playoff. Can they do it, Saint?
Well, I mean, he's been very honest here, wasn't he, Martin, about the whole season. And you don't crib about a couple of things that happened at the end of the season. It's a long, long haul, this. And you've got to look at the season overall, and he was very honest about it. The fact that they're actually in the playoffs in their first season in a division, I think it's fantastic. You know, it's been a great effort. And of course, they can win it. You know, they've won a lot of games this year, so they can certainly win the playoffs. And talking about teams at the top, look at Fulham, you know, who went down. I mean, they can't crib about, you know, the way they've gone down. I mean, they just haven't done it. And it's a shame, really. It's a long, long time to, you know, to be in the division, all of a sudden you're down. It's a real shock for
First time in the history. They've just lost a manager. It's desperate straits, isn't it? And then the battle for Craven Cottage.
That's right. The whole thing's going on there, and it just doesn't seem right. You know, when there's a lot of problems, sort of outside the playing side of it, your club is never right, and it's a shame for Fulham. But then on an upbeat, talking about London clubs, of course, we had Arsenal winning in midweek, which was a terrific result, really. I mean, and this is them this afternoon going round North London.
30,000 turned out to see them on their way to Islington Town Hall.
Oh, it's great. I mean, it's fantastic. And to think that next year, with Chelsea playing in the final next week, they will be automatically in it as well. You know, it doesn't matter what the result is. We'll have 2 teams in the Cup Winners' Cup from London. So it was wonderful.
Indeed. Well, as I said earlier, Saint, the closure of the Holmesdale Road end at Selhurst Park will bring a few tears to a few eyes amongst Crystal Palace fans, and it will restrict the capacity for both Wimbledon and Palace next season while a new stand is built. It all adds an emotional twist to the party atmosphere today. Here's Jim Rosenthal once again.
Yes, thank you very much indeed, Matt. Well, over the moon here at Selhurst Park. I'm sure you'll forgive me that one on the last day of the season, and they're parachuting the match ball in. Nottingham-based airborne parachute display team coming in here above us, and pretty accurate shot as well, and let's hope we see more of that this afternoon when the game actually gets underway. It really is a great festive atmosphere. We've got a wonderful day here. What a contrast to yesterday. And it's a party time with a difference, and all the fans are here enjoying themselves hugely. And one of those main fans is Bob the Cat Bevan, goalkeeper of distinction. The man you sponsor, Nigel Martin, has done the stuff for you this season for Palace, hasn't he?
He's done well there, Jim. Rather like the parachutist and myself. Nigel's very good in the air, Jim.
Now, what about 1 or 2 new players that Palace might go for next season in the Premiership?
Well, we're looking at Paul Stewart, of course, and then we're also, I believe Alan Smith's trying to sign Paul McGrath. He's offered him a basic salary and disappearance money, so that'd be interesting.
You've won a few championships before, haven't you?
This is only the 3rd time, funny enough, we've ever won a championship in the Football League. We were the first ever 3rd Division champions, early 1920s. Not sure the date, but Brian Morrow, I think he was doing the programme, Jim.
I'm sure he was. We'll have to check it up with him. On a slightly more serious note, I mean, we can see all those balloons behind you. It's a very emotional day with this Holmesdale Road terrace disappearing.
It is. I mean, I haven't felt so emotional since you last bought me a drink, Jim. And that was a few years ago, as I remember. No, it is a very emotional day, I think. Brilliant to see the ground full. Almost worth getting relegated for, wasn't it?
It's been quite a season for you, Bob, hasn't it?
It's been very good. The boys have played very well. Alan Smith's done a tremendous job. I don't think we've had team spirit since the days of Terry Venables like we've got now.
Bob, thanks for joining us indeed. That's tremendous. Well, I've been up there on that at Holmesdale Road Terrace, chatting to a few of the fans, and emotions there are running pretty high, I can tell you. Let's hear from a few of those fans. Is it quite an emotional day for you today?
It is, yeah, now they're taking this down. Yeah. Oh, now they're pulling this down. It breaks my heart.
It's very, very sad, isn't it? Been coming here for 25 years as a Palace supporter. It's such a shame. But never mind, we'll do well with our new seats. New image, it'll be great.
The one drawback is it isn't covered. All the fans have always said we'd love to have a roof over our heads, and we've waited it for a long, long time. It's coming. We're all going to be seated, but when it comes, we think it'll be worth it.
I've been here all my life as a boy, and I thought, a man and a boy, and I thought it'd be nice to bring her to the last stand on the Holmesdale Road end.
So your first game of football, are you looking forward to it?
Yes.
Who do you want to see play in particular?
Palace.
Yeah, I've been coming to Palace and I've missed the game for the last 3 seasons, home and away, League and Cup, and like the team we've got at the moment is just so brilliant. I think we did so well next year in the Premier League.
Next stop Europe, I think. We'll be there next year.
Well, David Jensen, one of the fans there talking about getting into Europe next year. Do you think that's a bit optimistic?
Well, I don't know. We've got a very special team. You know, we've got some very fast forwards. The team is really playing some adventurous football, and that's what's got us here today. I mean, it's a tremendous atmosphere. I thought when we made it to the Wembley Cup final, it was a great atmosphere there, but this builds it. I mean, beats it, rather. I mean, the atmosphere, the colour, and of course the history. This is the last time we'll see this behind us. So it's a special day, and it's a great day too, because whatever happens, as I understand it, if my mathematics mathematics are correct, Watford will stay up. So it's a carnival day for everyone.
Yeah, I wouldn't argue with that mathematics, but I mean, the pop world is very much your business, isn't it? We've almost got a sort of pop concert type atmosphere here today.
Absolutely, it really is. And I would like to think that we can keep this up and keep the momentum up and have a really good season back in the Premier Division. And who knows, why not? Newcastle did it. You know, Europe, here we come. And hopefully it won't just be playing in Wrexham.
Have you got any special memories of this season, David?
I think the special memory for me, I think, was the fact that we abandoned the long ball game at the beginning of the season, and we were starting to play some really attractive football on the ground. I think the installation of Paul Stewart up front, you know, for a loan period, he was instrumental in getting us promoted, no question about that. And I think the signing of Bruce Dyer was really inspired, because I think in 2 or 3 seasons' time he's going to be a superstar, and we'll have to hold on very fast to both him and Armstrong if we're going to really, you know, make progress and get into Europe.
Just going back to the terrace behind you, I mean, there have been 1 or 2 very emotional people there, a few tears in the eyes. Does the depth of that emotion concerning football surprise you at all?
Not at all. I think it's always been there, and I think it's been a lot of television, of course, apart from ITV, has been a lot of media concentrate on the Premier Division, and you know yourself exactly what's been going on in this league this year. The standard's been good, it's been very close, it's been very competitive, it's been very entertaining, and what more could you want as a football fan?
David, thanks very much indeed. Well, they've got the trophy here now, Palace champions. They were, I think, an 11-1 shot at the start of the season. Well done if you took that. And there's Mike Naylor from Ensley, and the Palace skipper Gareth Southgate getting that trophy. It's a heck of a day here at Selhurst Park. Theo Foley is up there alongside John Helm to talk you through it. Let's hope the match lives up to everything that's gone before it. Helmy, it's all yours.
Thank you very much indeed, Jim. I'm glad Bob the Cap mentioned Brian Moore being here in 1920 or whatever it was, and not me. Theo, just a quick word from you about what a super atmosphere there is here this afternoon.
It's a real pleasure to be here on such a day. The weather's beautiful as well, but I think the fans have been absolutely marvellous, and they're enjoying every minute of it. Good luck to them.
Well, 12 months ago, Crystal Palace was a club engulfed in despair. Relegation seemed like the end of the world then, but that's the beauty of football, and today, at the end of a marvellous promotion campaign, the place is full of smiling faces, and these are the men who have brought happiness back to Selhurst Park. Goalkeeper today, Nigel Martin. Number 2 is John Humphrey. 3 will be Dean Gordon. 4, the skipper, Gareth Southgate. 5 will be Eric Young. 6 is Chris Coleman. 7, Simon Roger. 8 is Damien Matthew. At 9, the top goal scorer, Chris Armstrong. 10 will be David White, and number 11, John Salarco. Well, Alan Smith sticks with his usual 4-4-2 formation, with the basis of Palace's success, the back 4, in which Eric Young and Chris Coleman have played in every single match in front of goalkeeper Nigel Martin, and he hasn't missed a game for 2 years. Gareth Southgate typifies the modern-day Palace. He's been with the club since the age of 14 and has taken over as skipper through the prolonged absence through injury of Andy Thorne. And Gareth models his leadership on that of Brian Robson. He'll be able to measure himself against the very best in the Premier League again next season. Watford today parade goalkeeper Perry Digweed. Number 2 is Gerard Lavin. Left back and 3, Jason Drysdale. 4 will be Colin Foster. 5, Keith Dublin. 6 is Keith Millen. At 7, Andy Hessenthaler. 8 will be Richard Johnson. 9, the top scorer Paul Furlong. 10, the skipper Gary Porter, and completing the lineup, number 11, Tommy Mooney. Glenn Roeder's side plays with a sweeper, so Keith Dublin has that role in this lineup today, with Colin Foster and Keith Millen as centre-backs, and Gerard Lavin and Jason Drysdale wing-backs in modern terminology. The Palace substitutes include ex-Watford striker Bruce Dyer, signed for £1 million plus recently, and the stalwart Richard Shaw, along with goalkeeper Andy Woodman. Watford's replacements today are Craig Ramage, Dennis Bailey, well known, of course, to QPR fans, and the young goalkeeper Paul Wilkerson. A year ago, Karen Barrett was looking forward to an FA Cup final appearance, adjudicating the Arsenal-Sheffield Wednesday game at Wembley. Today, he signs off his career. This is his last match at Selhurst Park. Well, we heard from Ron Nodes a moment ago, and he stands. I don't think he wants to sit down. He just wants to soak in all the atmosphere alongside his wife in the director's box, and this the culmination of such a wonderful recovery season for Crystal Palace, led by Alan Smith, the skipper, and he's paid tribute in his programme notes to the likes of Steve Harrison there on his right. Steve Harrison, who had 10 years, of course, at Watford, where he was assistant to Graham Taylor. And let's not forget David Kemp too, the other part of the coaching and management staff here at Selhurst Park. Palace are in the red and blue stripes. Watford, as always, the Hornets, yellow and black. And straight away, Armstrong, edge of the area, just couldn't get a toe hold as he was looking for it. And there are the remnants of balloons all over the pitch. So we've even got a blue and red pitch today.
He'll have to miss the balloons.
Palace have a first-minute corner. Eric Young up with the headband on, positioning himself just under the crossbar. Got the winning goal here 2 weeks ago against Barnsley. Roger with the corner. Palace aren't going to score in the first minute, are they? Oh, well, Chris Coleman came up. Eric Young got a toe in as well. He was surely offside. He was. Young is offside here, so as we look at this replay, bear that in mind. If Coleman had scored, it would have counted. It certainly didn't, coming off Young.
That was a very interesting one, really. I didn't think actually big Eric Young was going to stay there, and he, as you said, he almost scored in the very first minute. What a start.
Now he's back in defence, and so here is Dean Gordon. I've enjoyed watching Gordon this season. Very enterprising young fullback who's settled well. But they'll be tested by the likes of Furlong up there today. Nudged forward this time by Richard Johnson, and Furlong shows his pace, but the ball came off him. Poor Furlong, a lot of big clubs have looked at him, and Chris Coleman up against him today. We'll have a battle royal.
I think everybody will take a little while to settle down, John. The atmosphere is still very much up in the clouds, but I would say it's going to be very, very interesting already.
That's the danger, isn't it? You come out to receive your medals and a championship trophy, and you've got to get your minds on playing again. Well, it appears that they have, and here's Southgate pumping a shot onto the Holmesdale terrace. What a good player he is, and what a marvellous season he's had as the skipper.
I think Alan Smith's been with him for such a long time. He's obviously groomed him right the way along, and the lads repaid him, and it is a wonderful credit to him and to Alan and everybody here that you have that sort of situation.
It's typical of the manager here that he asked for Gareth to go out with him as the skipper. The other players went out 2v2, but he went out with the manager. Furlong climbed so high there.
He's very, very good in the air. It'll be interesting comparison today, John, between Furlong and, of course, Chris Armstrong, who has such terrific pace. And, of course, Watford's system with the sweeper system, we'll see how good he can operate against that.
Building down the right, and then Humphrey swings one across here towards Salako, firmly headed out by Lavin. Well, we are going to keep you updated with the scores around the country today, and there's a goal gone in already at Ashton Gate. Bristol City 1, Peterborough 0. Peterborough already relegated. One of the few matches that today that doesn't still have a bearing on the playoffs and relegation. Got a bit of a wave going on around the ground now. They really are in party mood here.
And rightly so, because that's what football's all about. At the end of a year, it's amazing what a difference a year can make. Sometimes a week in football, John.
And you might just get a glimpse of it now as it's just going on over on that side of the pitch. Up they go in the background. You'd think they'd be concentrating on the match. They might now, as Salako swept the ball forward, and then it's picked up by Roger. Armstrong, who works so hard in the Palace cause, was involved again there. Broken down by Watford, who come here on the back of a run of 6 matches in which they've lost only once to Tranmere Rovers. So Watford have had a positive end to the season.
Well, they have really, and since Glenn has managed to get those two defenders, Foster and Millen, in there, he's been delighted with them. Foster, of course, he knew from the Orient days, and I think generally that was a problem. They were leaking far too many goals.
I think the only thing they won't stand up for there is a Watford goal. Edge of the area, David White.